Oh. Yeah.
Good. Everybody got sick. Yes. Did you bet?
Did everybody hear it say recording in progress?
I think I did.
Did it say recording in progress?
It said it, she started it.
Okay. Okay, so it is exactly on Wednesday, September 10th, 2025, and this is the Virgin Town Council work meeting. Let me make a note of something. Okay, then Becky wants to say something, adding some things on here that are not on the agenda. Okay, so we have 8 items on the agenda, plus I have 2 other things I want to do. One, I'm just gonna mention, and then Becky wants to do a presentation, and, Tom, I'm gonna let you know right now, I'm not planning on you getting up and talking, we're just, okay.
I already know that.
Okay, I'm just making sure, 'cause I'm looking at all.
You're asking a question, I'll answer. You're giving Paul and I allow me to talk.
Okay. Okay, so item number 1 is the possible fire station conversion. And today we got the final document that we've been waiting for from Michelle. She sent it over and I forwarded it to Heath, and Heath wrote back and said they were gonna go get the transfer of the properties recorded today.
Great.
So, I have not checked, I'll check in a couple of days and see if the recordings are online, but they went to go get that done today. So, Paul and I met with the fire district, with the fire chief a couple weeks ago. And he has already put on his, capital improvements plan. They've done their 5-year plan too. And in this year, one of their things on their capital improvements plan is a potential fire station in Virgin, even though they didn't know we were doing this with the property. And so,
They know it now.
they know it now.
And are they happy?
They're very happy.
That's awesome.
And so they have it out for bid for a, architect who will come up with plans, because they've got 2 other fire stations in the county that they want to do too, or in the district, not the county. And, so
They're all in the county, but they're in the.
they're in the district, not all of the county is in the district. It's a, Venn diagram. So, anyway, I just wanted you guys to know we've got that set, take public comment. And so the fire station, they're very happy with that location there across from Desert Gardens. And they said they can totally work with that, with putting in the fire station. And this would also be one that would have, EMS. So we would have, paramedics there. And possibly places for people to sleep.
Well,
Living, they talk about living.
No, I don't think it's the proposal that Tom had given where he wanted to do an academy. Before, remember, back before in 2021, Tom wanted to do an academy. in
Oh, I
Virgin,
thought it was just a place for some of the fire people. to
Just
live.
for fire people to live, because they're there 24 hours to command the station.
Right.
Yeah,
But that's within the station.
yeah, that's within the station.
But so the place, that's why 1 acre wasn't gonna work for them, because land in the middle of town, that what all they wanted to do, 1 acre just wasn't cut.
Yeah, I think that's a great location, and from what I understand, people in Desert Gardens are fine.
Okay, all right. And then we were gonna use the rest of that land, the back acre for, the town yard, because the town yard that's on that has to be moved. Although Nick wrote me today and said, he texted me this afternoon and said, can we talk tomorrow? I have a different location in mind for the town yard. And I'm going, I don't know what property we have, but okay. So that's just the update on that. So you guys have any questions? Okay, all right, done with that. Reduction of the monthly compensation rate for the mayor. So you guys saw the resolution on there that I can cut the mayor pay in half. Since we have the, town manager, ordinance, sorry, not resolution. with the town manager starting, there's no justification for me to make the money that I was getting paid, not like it was very much in the first place. But anyway, I'm gonna cut it in half.
So where did that come from? Was that your own initiative?
Yeah.
Okay, so while he's kind of getting used to the job, would you still keep your old salary? When would this start? Like,
I have it gonna start next month, October month, even though he's only gonna have been here 10 days. I have that it would start, but we can, that's open to negotiation if you guys think it should start like November or something like
I
that.
just think you'll be spending a lot more.
I think I am
than
too,
you
in the
think that
beginning.
you're going to be spending.
So we can talk about that, but, when it should start. But maybe October is too soon, but there's no, I can't justify when you're
He's-
getting paid like that.
He's seasoned, but there's gonna be
Still.
stuff you're gonna have to, so still, I agree with.
Yeah,
I
I do as well.
100%. I think we should maybe wait until,
Well, we can vote it in, it's just what's the date it becomes
yeah, we
effective?
can just change the date.
Effective date, yeah. Okay, in fact, when I was talking to someone, a mayor from another town, I said, oh, our new town manager's gonna start on this date, the first question out of their mouth is, are you cutting your pay? And I'm like, yes, I'm gonna cut my pay. Oh,
Are
I
you like super high paid?
Apparently, I'm the highest paid mayor in this region.
I don't think so.
According to them, I am, and I checked, I'm like, oh my
Can
God.
we research that before we vote to cut the mayor's pay?
We can research that, but
What we,
I know Springdale gets like $400.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And
Well,
I
they
think
have a
that's,
city manager that plans.
yes, exactly, they have all of that.
Cause you're still gonna be doing things.
I'm still gonna be doing these, yeah. Yes, Paul.
once, and there's no rush on this, and once city managers on board, town managers on board. I think we need to do a comparison to apples of what various compensation is for elected officials.
Okay.
And so we know where we're at, regional, the town of our size, because the last 4 years of trying to recruit people to run has been very difficult.
Well, it can't be the compensation.
I don't know.
They just don't wanna be involved in
Well,
politics.
they don't, but the question is how much does the compensation figure into that?
Oh.
And where are we? I mean, are we high? If that's the case, then we need to figure out something else to encourage participation. If we're low, then we need to look at it. I just think we need to,
Well, we can do an
the better,
analysis.
the better informed we are,
Okay.
the better we are in going forward. And there's no hurry.
Okay.
I mean, it could be
Rockville.
next year, 2 years.
Rockville pays their mayor $1 a year.
So she's based
Why would anybody run for mayor?
in Rockville. So I told you, I'm high paid compared, and she works just as hard as I
I
do,
know she does.
because they don't have a town manager or a planner or any of that.
You don't have a clerk.
State, is that what you were looking at?
Transparency website of the state.
Yeah, if you go to the states, there's like $50 per meeting, there's $40 a month, but these are towns of 100. And like, the town that's close to us is Mayfield, and it's 250, but all that, or 560 people, and it's $250 a month, but all that you that's somebody with a city manager,
Yeah, we can do a full on analysis like you're asking.
yeah.
Okay. Okay, next item on the agenda is adoption of the scenic byway corridor management plan. Did you guys have any opportunity to review that?
Yes.
Okay.
I didn't read it all,
No, you
really
didn't.
detailed, but I did read a lot of it, and I skimmed through the rest, I'll read all of it.
Okay.
Fine, but it's,
So, what the deal is once all of the communities that are involved in this corridor management plan, we need to adopt this corridor management plan by resolution, and then once we've all adopted it by resolution, then it goes to the state legislature for the state legislature to, vote on, and then, our local representative, Joe Elizabeth, that he would, sponsor the bill at the state legislature to adopt, for the state to adopt this plan. The person who, the contractor, the consultant who put this all together is going to be at the meeting on Tuesday and do a little, slideshow presentation about it. And so we can ask some questions, but, she is going to be in town, or she's in town now. And so last night she did Rockville and Springdale, and then next week, Monday, she does. No, Wednesday, she first goes to Kane County, then she goes to Washington County, and then she comes here all on the same day to do her presentations to everybody. And then, Hurricane, I think, is like Monday. So she's getting everybody,
Wow.
That's good.
in 1 week. All their town council meetings are taking place, and she was just going meeting after meeting after meeting to do this presentation.
Is that when she'll explain like the pros and cons of this having?
Yes, I don't think there's, what she's really gonna be doing is presenting this.
Yeah.
And this doesn't really give us any cons, it's all pros.
So
Because
it's not
that's-
a cost to us to do it, or?
We already contributed money for this.
Yeah,
And then,
but there's no
what we
additional
did,
cost.
what we did is we were the sponsor for a grant from the state
Okay.
to do this plan.
Yeah.
And so we got the money from the state, deposited it in the bank, and a PTIF account.
Mhm.
And then we've just, all our bills have been paid, they come to us, we pay the bills out of that money that we got from the state, so it has not really cost us anything. So she's finishing up in the last bit, we've almost paid out all the money that we got for the grant, and, all that's left is to get it up to the state and for the state to consider it in their next legislative session.
Okay.
And they need it all done by, January, by the end of this year, so they are actually ahead of the game by doing it this month. So, anybody have any problems with the corridor management plan? Other than the fact that it doesn't present pros and cons?
Well, it was just, I just wanted to make sure that there wasn't any, there's always something sneaky. Sometimes there's sneaky things, and you just wanna make sure it's a great idea, but
Okay, so I,
I didn't get to, I didn't get to finish the whole thing.
Yeah,
I
I
think-
think pages.
Yeah, I think I.
no, it takes a while.
Yeah, oh, I know.
So I've got some work.
So we had a formal presentation of Design Regional Collaborative. She came, this was 1st of August, and did a whole presentation on this to us, so I've been through the whole thing. I believe on SharePoint, is there not a proposed resolution?
There is.
Okay, all right, so I will fix that for Tuesday's meeting. The resolution. Okay. Next is this joint agency regional water conservation plan. So I will explain. Now, oh, you know what? Actually, before, I want to skip to number 5 on your list about the, Greater Zion's, intent to apply for funds to build 3 pedestrian underpasses along Sheep Bridge Road, and whether we want to issue a letter of support for this. And I want to talk to this because it relates to this scenic byway corridor management plan. They're kind of recreation, and so they're kind of, they're related. So as they're getting ready to pave Sheep Bridge Road, they have the Greater Zion. That's the Washington County's Office of Tourism. That's the name of it, Greater Zion. They have applied for funds from UDOT to build 3 pedestrian underpasses. I gave you guys a map showing where the underpasses are located. And, they have asked the Zion Regional Collaborative to give a letter of support. And so they sent us their letter of support, what they would like it to say. And I just wondered if we want to also support doing these pedestrian underpasses.
That means cyclists as well as.
Yes, yes, because there's gonna be a path.
That's the scariest thing out there is those poor cyclists.
So there's a path, there's gonna be a path on each side of Sheep Bridge Road, but they want to.
Bicycle pedestrian path?
It says, they're calling it a pedestrian path, but I'm sure it includes bike.
Well, I mean, but along the side of the road. There's
Yes,
some- Okay.
Yes, there's supposed to be a path, but they're not gonna do this.
We're getting that it's not for parking.
No, right, so I had heard that they had taken a lot of those paths out of contracts, but, so you're saying there still is a.
As far as I know, there's still on the plan.
Okay.
And this pedestrian underpass is for people to, get to the other side of the road without having to cross, because
Well, when
I'm
it's
sure they're
paved,
expecting heavier
when
traffic.
that's paved, yeah.
It's gonna be.
And they fly down that road now. so
I can
sure
tell you,
when it's
the
paved, it's gonna
traffic,
be
the speed
worse.
on that road is like 70 miles.
I know,
People fly down.
yeah, it's crazy.
You can see it just, I mean,
Oh, it's terrible. Well, in the paved section, they just,
the paved section, they fly.
oh, yeah.
Oh, just wait.
I know.
They fly up on the non-paved, it's gonna be a mess.
So if we wanna do a letter of support, I'll draft up a letter of support. This really will not need to be on the town council agenda. You got, Tuesday's agenda. I see no reason for this to be on this.
Oh, yes, if it's coming from the
Yeah.
town, if it's
Well, I
coming,
figured you guys could just send me an email saying yes, yes, or text message, say, yeah, do it. But if you want us to vote in public on it, we can do that.
yeah, then you can reference. that.
I'm all for it.
Okay.
It's great.
Okay, I figured we would all do this.
It gives information out too, who did it.
Okay, so now I will go back to this water conservation plan.
Well, I just have one comment to make on the Zion Scenic Byway. They mentioned Co-op Road, but they didn't say anything about Sheepbird. I thought that was interesting.
They asked, I'll have to go back, I will look before we have Tuesday's meeting. We discussed why they didn't talk about Sheep Ridge.
Okay.
They discussed it at that presentation, and I'm sure she'll say something to us
Okay.
in her presentation, why Sheep Ridge Road was not included in that. But mainly, and I have to look about co-op, because of course, the whole thing about the scenic byway is Highway 9. It's not Sheep Ridge Road.
No,
It's
they-
Highway 9.
They did mention like in different, they have that chart
Mhm.
with the different towns and, I guess you could say attractions. They mentioned Co-op Road on that
Oh,
list.
as a list of attractions, why did they list Sheep Ridge Road? as
I
an
mean, I'm
attraction?
fine that they don't, but.
Well, I looked at it also for the geographic features, co-ops, it gives you different geographic features.
Okay. Okay. All right, so the water conservation plan. So the state has required, and they mentioned this, I sent you guys, in addition to the water conservation plan, I sent both of you emails from the person at the Water Conservancy District. And in the first letter from him, he mentions the state code, and he includes a link to the state code that now they passed this that requires every municipality to have a water conservation plan. And what the Water Conservancy District did is they went to the state and said, hey, we've got all of these municipalities that are in the Water Conservancy District. Can we do? The Water Conservancy District had to adopt a plan themselves. And all the towns were gonna have to adopt a plan. And their point to the state was, every town's just gonna adopt our plan. So why can't we just have one plan that everybody signs on to with a resolution, and that's everybody's plan? And the state approved it, and as you saw in the email that I got yesterday, they had a board meeting at the Water Conservancy District, yesterday, or the day before, and they also approved this regional conservation plan. And otherwise, we will have to pay a consultant to do a water conservation plan for Virgin. And, now that we are a municipal customer of the Water Conservancy District, not a contract user, but now that we're a municipal customer, we have to, all of us that are municipal customers are required by the regional water supply agreement that we agree. We can't just say, oh, well, no, we're not going to agree with this. We want to step out of this. We're in it now. And so,
I didn't really see anything to disagree about, though.
no, the only
No,
thing,
I
the
didn't
only
either.
thing that Lee Ballard pointed out to me is she noticed that in this, they talked about limiting the size of swimming pools. And they've talked about that at the Water Conservancy District this year several times. It's at our meetings, they've talked several times about wanting to limit the size of swimming pools. But the size of the swimming pool they're gonna limit is huge. And so.
Well,
it's
can we
huge.
go less? Decide.
That's, well, so what, Lee was talking about was whether or not the planning commission should move forward with a swimming pool size limitation for Virgin. And, they're gonna talk about it at planning commission. But I can't tell you the size, he told me the size, and I have to go back and find my notes from the front, but it's big.
So,
Nobody in Virgin's gonna build a pool that big. I mean, we're talking hotel size for like Las Vegas.
Yeah, have you been to the house at observation stage?
No, but you've talked about the size of.
That's a
the pool.
Vegas pool.
That's a Vegas,
Yeah.
okay. So,
And there's also a chart that lists Virgin's having no regulation on swimming.
well, many of them,
Yes.
many towns don't, the only one that does it, Ivan's. Swimming pool size limitations.
so I just wanted you to know that we will, they need this adopted, we don't have to do it this month. We do not have to do the resolution adopting this at this month's meeting, but we do have to do it by next month. If we're,
By the
because
31st.
October 31st, or we have to adopt it.
That was my question, because it appeared that other communities were gonna hold a public hearing.
Well, that's what this email from them said, is you don't have to hold a public hearing, but it's probably in your best interest to use it. So we should do that.
My suggestion, yeah, hold a public hearing and not.
Okay. Well, this is gonna be one of those situations where, and I don't like having a public hearing and a vote on the same day. But, this will be a case we're gonna have to do it that way, do a public hearing and then a vote.
Unless we wanna do a special meeting.
Unless we want a special meeting. Which, by the way, I have a request from Monica for us to hold a special meeting on October 8th. I told her I would check with you guys. Let me make sure that it was either October 8th or October 7th. We have to, let me find. Is it a text message?
October 7th.
Well, thank you, Monica. So it was a text message, okay. I was just about to go look at my text messages. So
It's a
October
Tuesday.
7th is a Tuesday, and what I have going on that day. Are you gonna be in town, Paul?
I have no idea.
I only have two things on my calendar that day, one of which I am not going to, and the other is just a Zoom call. So, Monica, since you were just talking just now, what is it that we're supposed to do on the 7th for the special meeting? I don't remember.
Well, it started out just approving to award the East Tank bid.
That's it.
And we
Okay.
didn't do the loan we'll be doing the loan closing for that on the 14th.
He's saying that
So we changed, remember we changed engineering firms? And so they submitted bid and got bid opening. It's a bid opening, I thought.
No, the bid opening's the 25th, Thursday. And then that gives you guys until the 7th to, review, meet with Rod, whatever you feel necessary to make that decision or meet with Sunrise, whatever you need to do. And then there is also the request from SE that is doing the Prost that
And
they,
I told you no on that, but I just
Oh.
remember that I wrote back to you and told you no on the pros plan, the kickoff meeting, but I just
Okay.
realized, I just realized the town manager will be here. Cause I didn't want it to start until the town manager was here, but he will be here, so we could do that. We should be able to do that kickoff meeting that day. So if necessary, we can add this public hearing on the water conservation plan to that same meeting on the 7th, if everybody can make the 7th for a meeting.
What time are we talking?
What time are you talking about, Monica?
you guys are really my first go at setting this up, so whatever time you guys say, I will go.
I don't wanna do this in the evening. The kickoff meeting with the, with SE Group for the first plan is, that's just with us. It's not like it's a public hearing. or anything like that. It's not where they're gonna be doing their open houses and bringing in the public. It's just really gonna be talking and saying, okay, here's what we're gonna do. Here's how this is going to proceed. That's all this really is. So, I don't see that we need to do that in the evening. If it was not being part of this, we probably would just do it in the middle of the day. And awarding the bid, we probably would do in the middle of the day. It's this public hearing that probably should not be done. in the middle. But are you guys?
What about Misty?
Oh, of
Okay.
course, I forgot. I forgot about that, sorry.
I'm back in school, so,
Okay.
but if you do it at a certain time, I could probably,
Zoom in,
I could probably zoom in, I just have to know.
like your lunchtime, like you did before,
Yeah, I just have to figure out where I need to work it in.
okay? Anybody else?
So can we set up some day and then you could give us?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, you can just pick up the day, pick the day, then I can.
What about
set
you?
something in between.
I can switch work schedules, so that's fine.
I can probably make that.
Okay, Monica, it looks like we can do the 7th.
I don't have anything in the summer that would mess that up during the day.
So that would be awarding the bid and then the kickoff meeting for the pros plan.
And none
Awesome.
of you, right, and none of you have what was Misty's response for time-wise that I'm shooting for?
She says okay during the day, as long as it's not like. I'll just give you the times I for sure can't, it can't be between 8 and 9. And
Okay,
then it can't be between 2:30 and 3:30.
those
But I can
those
shuffle
are good
things
times or
around.
those are the bad times?
Those are the bad times.
Okay, okay. I can work with that.
That evening I'm free, but I really guess what I do, so.
Okay, I will work on that.
Okay,
Thank you,
anything else about the water conservation plan?
Thanks.
So I was interested in their, the public agency water efficiency rebate on page 16, thinking that perhaps we could do something with the grass at the new town hall. You know, and maybe use some of that, I don't know where that money's coming from.
You
It's,
said page 16?
Yes, there's this public agency water efficiency rebate,
Yes,
Yeah,
and
$2 per square foot.
$50 per 1,000 gallon of reduction in annual water use. It's based on the municipality and annual water use. And I don't know if we get any money for that, but it would be nice if we could take some of the grass at the town hall and turn it into something similar to, like the red.
We talked about doing that,
Yeah.
taking the grass out in front,
In some areas.
leaving some of it on the side of the building, but taking it out in front and doing like native plants and
Like the red
rocks
hills
and,
desert.
yes, yeah.
Okay. Because I was reading, I didn't think we were allowed to have so much grass in a municipal building area according to this.
According to this, once everybody's adopted it, and it's approved.
So that means that we would have to take out.
So we were already,
It would-
we were already talking about doing that at the new building.
But I think we'd be grandfathered in.
Well, it also would depend, I think if you have, like, if you use it as a soccer field or a baseball field
Of
for
course,
recreation,
of course.
then you could keep some grass, but I mean, I don't know that we use it for that.
It's purely decorative. That's all that is at the.
Right,
at
at the
front-
town hall.
At the
I mean, I
front.
think you could leave some of this, because people like to sit on the grass when we have a. big
We
event.
talked about leaving it under the big trees on the, west side of the property, west side of the.
Oh, well,
building.
yeah, that's part of the silver.
Right, but the front of the building and then actually off to the side,
By the parking lot.
yeah.
a bus picks up and drops, buses,
School
pick up
buses.
and drop right there in the front of that building.
Uh-huh.
And the kids do sit,
On the grass.
I mean, if we put a bench there or something, I probably would mind, but they do play over there and hang out right there in that grassy spot.
Well, they'll
with
just
the
have to
bus.
move over a little bit.
Yeah,
So
but
it
if
is
you put
more
it
of
right
a
there,
park
it would be
then.
fine,
Is
but
that considered a park? Is that in our fund?
No,
I didn't think so.
no, but she's just saying the kids hang out there because that's.
I
what
think
they
we
like.
took the bus and that's the spot.
That's what the school.
So I'm just saying, if you put in rocks, all I'm worried about is that they're gonna climb all over the rocks, so.
Oh, I didn't mean rocks.
No,
Decorative, you know.
No, they're gonna be kicking it around.
Oh, yeah,
There's
throwing
no-
them at each other.
But that's why I was saying, if you put a bench or something there, they might leave it alone this much.
It's just gonna be, what's that word for the landscaping that everybody, half the town, half the people in the world mispronounce?
Xeriscape, zeros.
Yes, they say zero scape, they say
Zero.
zero scaping. Yes,
But
we're
so-
gonna do zero scaping
Where
there.
do you think that that should be kind of a park-like space and should maybe that be in the cost fund?
Well,
Could
we'll
be.
discuss that
Okay,
at the kickoff meeting on October
That's why,
seventh.
that's why we're doing the plan.
okay.
Yeah.
To add and
So I think Valley Academy picks up there, and Washington County School District picks up there for all the schools.
Okay, I didn't know that the Valley,
Valley Academy picks up there as well.
okay, I didn't know we had the people
I
in
get
town to
stuck
go there.
behind them.
Firsthand
Okay, well, I will prepare the resolution, and he indicated in the email that they had the, proposed whereas is contained inside this, one of the appendixes to this plan is the proposed resolution. Oh, here it is, it's page 23. Sample resolution.
Are they still working on that route plan that they sent out a while ago? And
You're talking about the Virgin River thing?
so it was a drought plan where they.
Oh,
with the
drought.
red-
I'm sorry, I thought you
Yeah.
said something different.
No, and so they had a list of different situations where they could.
Yes,
get all
they're still
different types of things, they're still working.
Yeah, that has not, necessarily fallen by the wayside. It's
Okay.
still in the progress. Because we had 3 things from the Water Conservancy District on back like, May or June that we were going to have to adopt, and I think one of them was this. And so there's still 2 things out there that the Water Conservancy District wants us to adopt. We'll talk about that in our next meeting there.
So do we know what the transparent water billing program is and the Virgin isn't involved in that?
What page is that?
So that's figure 8. Page, I guess it's after page 18, it's in the figures. There were 2 things under education programs, transparent water billing program and AMI automated water metering infrastructure.
Okay, I see education programs. I see Red Hills Desert Gardens training and.
No, it's further down.
Further down, okay.
So look at page 19. That's where it's at.
That's this thing? With this chart with all the
Yeah.
check marks?
Yes, so if you go down under educational programs in green, it's like the second
Oh, yes.
block.
I don't know what the transparent water billing program is. The automated metering, we've got that.
So they say we don't,
Yeah, they said.
That we don't?
but yeah. it says
They must not realize we have, oh,
I think it's
You know what,
different
that's
than
different.
Badger,
That's-
and I think it's a text messaging system, they
Okay.
talked about it at one of the water.
yeah, I just realized we do have the wireless billing. I mean, the water meters in front of everybody's
Right.
house just sends wirelessly to the clerk what the usage is for each house. But actually, I think this automated metering is something different. It does not sound the same thing to me at all. So,
So
yes,
those
there's a
things, I
lot
don't
of
know if we
things
need to look
since
into those
we-
and see what-
since we're new to this, there's a lot of things that we have not adopted yet, that we're not aware of, that everybody else in the Water Conservancy District has adopted, and, there's things for us to follow up. Oh, look, there's my signature on that. Ooh.
It's out there.
Okay. I will write and ask, Doug Bennett, he's the guy in charge of water conservation at the water district. I'll write and ask him what this transparency program is. Okay. And then we're finally gonna get to the thing that's the reason you guys are here. Finally. Maybe look at this one more time, make sure that this is I'm gonna be asking Doug about. Transparency water bill program. And you wanna know what the AMI thing is too?
I think I kind of know what it is, but I wonder if we need to adopt that since we have the Badger system and people can put the app on their phone and find out if they have the leaks. I don't know if that's the same thing or not.
Yeah, ours, we already have that one.
You know, people have said over the years that Virgin's water billing rate was way high compared to other towns.
It looks like it is.
It's, well, Laverton has a speed out now. They adopted a bill, I'll send you this, I don't think it's in here.
They show.
The chart, let me see.
They
what's
have
in
a
the
chart, let's see. Is it towards the very end of this? Oh, yeah, here, it's on page, appendix F.
Yes, there we go.
Page
Page
27.
27, yes.
Virgin is the highest.
No, that's Laverton.
Well, it says Virgin $60, that's monthly service.
Yes, and,
And the Virgin says.
Laverton just went up to, Virgin is $66.34.
So that,
They're,
oh, the Virgin, I see, okay. They're on the very bottom, because they had a 5/8 and a 3/4, so, okay. Why is St. George and Washington so low?
we discussed that in the meeting, something about their system that is so different from the rest. But I suspect after looking at this, I won't be the least bit surprised if, they go back and reassess their billing.
One other thing interesting about this report is when they talk about the water availability and the amount of water that's being used from now and in the future also, there's not a lot of leeway.
No, there's not.
Like hardly anything. And I know they haven't talked about the Lake Powell project in here.
Oh, they do or do not? No, they don't talk about, they do at the meetings we go to. I roll my eyes. every
I know,
time.
they still talked about
But
it.
they still talk about, it. We haven't forgotten, it's still a plan. I'm like, okay,
As the water drops.
as the water drops, it's still our plan.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's kind of precarious in my opinion.
You're not the only one with that. So, anything else on that before we get to the gate in the outside? All right. So. The last time we talked about the gate at Rio de Sion in the town council meeting, Heath had said that, we needed to have a plan from an engineer before we did the, and then we could do a contract with the HOA. So now that we have this, which is the design, I did not scan this and put this in, but if you guys want to see it, I'll pass it down. But I will tell you where this is. This is that little sales office right there as you pass my house. So my house is right here. And this is the little sales office. And so what this had been, when this was an actual sales office, this was a parking lot for people to come and park and go into the sales office. And then there's this driveway here that was, Bill and Linda's driveway. And, that actually, part of that was actually owned by the HOA. And so this is going to come through the parking lot and wrap around and come down what was Bill and Linda's, outside the gate of, from Bill and Linda's.
Is that in the HOA?
Yes, okay, yeah. So, that's the plan for, so if people come up and the gate itself is gonna be right here. And so if people come up and go, oh, and they wanna turn around, they can turn around here, and that's what that's for. And that's what he said they wanted to see, he wanted to see this before he did a contract. So all that's left is to do a contract. So I plan to, at the meeting on Tuesday, to ask you for this contract. And it's going on a to-do list. It's gonna get sent over with a couple of other things that are on this to-do list that we're waiting for.
The automatic gate, I'm assuming.
Yes, it's an automatic gate. It won't have like a code or anything like that. It's just gonna be one that as you pull up, it's sort of like the gate that you see at the, when you go to the transfer station and as we pull up and you wait, and the gate opens, it's gonna be like that.
So anybody can go in.
Correct.
I'm sorry.
I think that'll
What was
just keep people-
She was asking about the gate, voter rights.
Right.
Yes, it's,
Prevent people
it's gonna be automatic, but it's not
that
gonna
would
have
deter people.
like
from
a
going in.
code or
If you have a thing in
and
your
they
car.
don't have nothing like that.
It will also sell
That's
it.
and just like what you see at the transfer station. if you go to
Oh,
transfer.
so it's not gonna keep anybody out?
No, it just slows down
It
traffic.
slows down traffic and it's a deterrent.
Okay.
I mean, people aren't gonna want, some people just like to drive, they see that
Sure.
gate, they're not
Sure.
gonna find it.
Yeah.
They think it won't open and then.
Yeah, they'll just turn.
So is the HOA funding this gate?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And then it will also slow people down because they gotta come and slow.
Right.
So it covers the traffic, it's a nice traffic calming device.
Yeah, but keeping it moving was.
But the reason-
So it'll open is because we're gonna keep maintaining the road still.
That's why,
Right.
that's why it can't be wrong. Because if they were gonna make it where they had to have a code or a whatever, then they're, then the HOA will have to maintain those. Okay, and we won't be responsible,
Makes sense.
and they did not want that.
How
So
about, so can people walk around that gate?
there's supposed to be, I believe, a pedestrian gate built into it. So that I can walk in there like I've been doing for years and years and years. I can
You have to stand there, somehow
walk.
get the gate to open, climb over it, climb over it.
When I ride my bicycle, I'll figure it out. Oh, yeah, walk around, wait till the gate opens.
So, we had already
So
approved.
Karen rides a bicycle, she'll tell me what to do.
Yeah.
There's always.
So, we had already approved the gate some time ago,
Yeah.
but we were waiting, for Heath to write the contract, and then the last time, well, we were waiting for Heath to write the contract, and then at the last time, I finally put this on the agenda, to say, what, you know, what's up? And he says, oh, we need this, I'm like, well, nobody told the HOA we need this, so now we have it. Did you guys have anything that you wanted to say about the gate, and you just want to find out where we were?
One by the
Okay,
Rather than just, like I said, slow the traffic down.
yeah,
And deter, because we get people from the Fairfield and now the KOA campground, they see that bridge, they go, wow, where's that going?
Yeah.
and they're in their cars, they're not walking, they're in their cars.
They're driving. Which, I mean, but we get a lot of lookies.
I was gonna say, if I was staying in the K-way or the Marriott, I'd probably go back there and say, what's back there, and go check it out, you know.
I see the
I
bridge, you go, where's that going?
didn't know there were houses back here, let's go look at the houses, yeah,
Other residential only signs.
no. There's not. There was one sign that we put up a long time ago. And, it eventually wore away, but that one I think was saying no ATVs in the neighborhood or something like that. Oh, yes, it said, this is a residential neighborhood, not a playground or something like that. And then the sign just deteriorated in the sun and it's
So
gone.
that bridge. Residential traffic only, because there are no businesses.
Yes, we could do that. There's one at the entrance when you turn off, the highway on Pocketville Road that says,
Yes, we
local
know how,
traffic only.
we know how helpful that
That
is.
is.
We know the signs are not,
We have
That
that desert
helpful?
gardens and.
it's like locking your door, it's only to keep the honest people out. And they'll stop when they see that sign and turn around and drive back.
I think ours says no outlet, and people come in anyway, because they miss Sheep Ridge Road, or they think it's Sheep Ridge Road.
Right.
And drive around really fast, they're mad, they take the wrong road.
Well, you can't help it when you go into Desert Gardens, go straight and then it goes downhill and oh my gosh, just. I found myself having to slow down when I go in there, I'm like, slow. So, I don't think there's anything else for us to do here. I just wanted you guys to see that we have the engineering. And the next thing is for Heath to write the contract.
Write the contract and we'll approve the contract.
Yes. When it comes back for us to approve, yes. Okay. So. This brings us to, I put this thing on here on the agenda to discuss Tom Lacase's request to build a duplex. And, I put on here, is a compromise possible? And so I put this on here for us to discuss. Thank you. And then I already had this on the agenda on my notes for this, but not knowing that there was going to be, this ordinance was gonna come through this month from the commission, nor this proposed ordinance from Cameron that just came yesterday or the day before.
Yeah, but the one from Cameron was never transmitted from planning. They only acted on.
Well, he
one.
just submitted it.
Yeah.
He just now submitted it, so they haven't had time.
They haven't acted.
And I
The
said,
second one that's
I haven't read it.
on it, is that a different?
no, that's the one that came from town council, from planning commission. That's the one they voted on last,
And Karen submitted this one.
like 2 days ago.
So when I'm reading these, am I reading this correctly, that Cameron's, he wants this in commercial zone?
Well, what happened is, when we sent this to planning commission, you were not yet on town council. And what happened is, Tom comes in and says he'd like to build a duplex, and he presented some documents to the town, to
I've
the staff.
never seen those because you
and-
brought them to planning and zoning.
Yes, and then we said, let's send this to planning commission to give us a recommendation as to whether or not we should allow duplexes in the commercial zone, because his property is commercial.
Okay,
That's all this was.
got it.
That's all the motion was that went to planning commission was, give us a recommendation on whether we should have duplexes in commercial. That was the entire referral.
And how come that property is commercial?
It got rezoned years ago. And so when I asked, is there a compromise possible, is I didn't know when we would get this from planning commission. And then here came, Cameron's, after I'd already done my agenda, then here came Cameron's, proposal, which, and then there had actually been someone, I won't say who, but someone had suggested to the town, to me, and I've not conveyed this to anybody else, but somebody had said, what if we did an agreement with Tom where we allowed the duplex, but as part of this agreement, the land was rezoned back to residential, rural residential. And I was like, okay, I'll share that. And Becky, you know, I just realized that I could have had you talk quite some time ago, so you sit in the whole thing.
You just shared.
Okay.
Just here.
You're just here, okay,
Just here.
okay.
So I need to understand, I was looking at the, parcel, and that parcel's like 0.75 acres.
It's 0.8.
0.8.
I thought it was 0.83. It's
And
0.8.
then you already have a residence on there, is that correct?
That's correct.
So you've got one resident on 0.73 acres, and you want to build a duplex as well.
That's correct.
Yes.
Okay, because I remember when we talked about it originally, there wasn't any mention of an existing residence.
And that's what I told Tom whenever he's come in to talk to me. I said, I guarantee when you came in and talked to the town council at the time we sent this to planning commission with this recommendation, none of us understood that this was land that was less than an acre that already had an existing house on it. And I said, we didn't understand that, but now we do. And so we're not gonna discuss any further. Now we understand.
Okay.
And we've understood that for a while now.
And Tom, you own a parcel next door to this parcel as well, is that-
That's correct.
and what's the size of that one?
It is, 1.991, just about 2 acres, and a little pond.
So,
I just want us to understand the situation.
Yes,
because
so-
I didn't know.
so The reason I was asking if a compromise was possible, and we'll get to the two ordinances from planning commission here in just a minute. I had been thinking about the fact that, we have the one ordinance that allows house, 4,800 square feet on the lot. And what's the size of your house? The house is there now?
The house that I'm living in is 1,250 square feet, 1,250 or 1,280.
Okay.
It's a double wide.
Yes, so I was looking at the fact that we now have this ordinance that allows a bigger home. But that's all considered really that it's one home. You could have a casita, you could have an accessory building,
Right.
you could have all this
Right.
stuff, and the living quarters was the 4,800 square feet. So you could have even bigger with by adding all this other stuff onto it. And so I was looking at the fact we had that. But then this would be two separate homes, but it would need to have one septic system, not two separate septic systems.
Do we know how big the septic system is?
On the existing property, I think that's somewhere in all the documents.
Yeah, they looked at that when they did the other one. I'm not sure how big it is, but it's
So,
small. But the one that, the duplex, they have already engineered that for a septic system. That's the right size and done by.
so what I was wondering, when I was wondering if we could come to a compromise, was if we could come up with, because of that other ordinance now that allowed such square footage, if it would be acceptable to say, okay, you would have to have one septic system for both. So the septic system would have to be redone for both to connect to the same septic system. And, we have to see what size, but given that you've got a house with two people or one person in your house? Just you,
Me and my lab.
your lab, okay. So if you think about some of the houses that we have that have so many people living in them, a big family. And this still, between this house with one person in it and this duplex will probably still have the same impact or less impact than some of the big houses. Then why could we not say, let's have a single septic system, that they're a newer, improved septic system that is recommended by a wastewater study, not the groundwater protection study, but the wastewater study had recommended, that going forward, we should require those newer septic systems that, take out higher nitrate than what people have been putting in around town. And I thought, well, what if we did that? Could that work? Could we, and someone else said, well, what if you took 0.2 off of that other, lot next door and parcel that's there and do a boundary adjustment, and then you've got 1 acre. And I'm like, okay, that's something to consider. So is a compromise possible? And that's what I wanted.
So the only thing I would say about projecting what that home was going to have in the future. He's one person living there now, but it has to be designed for the potential of other people living there. If it's got 2 or 3 bedrooms, it needs to be designed for that.
Yes,
My
I
concern,
agree. It could have more people in that house.
my concern is what kind of precedent we're setting by doing this.
That's true.
Right.
That's why I want to know.
I have a
Otherwise, it's
question.
possible, then that's
Is
not
there a
possible.
reason that you want to put this duplex on the smaller parcel and not on the larger parcel?
Yes, the other larger parcel is ideally suited for a beautiful home. It's, that's it.
Your duplex is not gonna be beautiful?
Pardon me?
Your duplex is not gonna be beautiful?
What a segue.
It drops the.
So we don't need to see the plan, we don't.
I'm not confused.
Okay.
I have seen the photograph, I've seen the rendering, it's okay, I've seen her.
Very helpful, because the biggest issue is.
We already have it, we have.
You all have it all?
It's, here's everything for you.
Okay, well, anyway,
The only reason for that, you can ignore the first page, but there are some images there that show where the houses are in terms of density of the houses. Okay, that's what those images that you don't have a problem with, but
Okay, I don't wanna go into a long discussion, all I wanted to know
Yeah.
is
to answer your
compromise
question,
possible?
it's actually, I've already created it, we started this about.
Tom,
I'm sorry, I thought I'd answered your question as to why I didn't.
all you did, you answered the question.
Yes.
Sorry.
No, you're fine.
Okay, so with those thoughts in mind, although I will say this, the thing with the bigger homes, the square footage of the homes is only in residential and rural residential, it's not in the commercial zone. So
Could somebody in that suggested boundary adjustment?
I don't see,
Are you opposed to boundary adjustment, just to add a little more acre?
take
No.
lot two off your other
Not
lot
at all.
parcel, okay, to make it an acre.
Would you be, would you object to, rezoning the property to rural residential? My concern is,
Part of this.
would
part of
we
the-
start, allowing you to do this in a commercial zone after we've taken everything out of commercial zone? I worry that people are gonna really be up in arms.
Yes.
Yeah,
Couldn't you just build it?
I guess that would go to them, I basically, the recommendation was to, because it is commercial,
This was.
it's appropriate to put it in. The town does not want duplexes, that's a political thing. Well, I'm sorry. I can't say it's just, but the point was that, because it is commercial. And the directive that town council gave was because it is a commercial piece of property, not residential. That a duplex may be viable with the conditions that it's permanent, long-term, et cetera. So the specific ordinance that Cameron responded to speaks to that is why. Because it might create issues, if it were residential, because other people, that would be a precedent setting.
No, I disagree with that. Because if it goes, in my mind, if it goes back to residential, then it meets that requirement, that, ordinance that allows the homes, the 4,800 square feet, which we don't allow that is not in the commercial zone.
Right.
So if this stays commercial, he doesn't get that.
Right, but I also think that the general plan survey, duplexes were something that people said, yeah.
That's correct.
That's
The current
yeah,
thinking.
exactly, and that's been every
But was that? in
four
the
general
commercial-
plans since I've been here.
But was that in the commercial zone or was that in the residential?
I don't think that I don't think it was zoned.
Was that, not that.
The current, and I'm looking at it, and I have still all my comments back to Lee, but they're working on that neighborhood commercial,
Mhm.
and that would allow duplexes.
Okay, so,
Those, septic systems that are the upgraded ones are expensive.
okay,
They're
Well,
like $30,000.
I know they're expensive. I didn't.
And I
know
don't
they're
have any
expensive.
problem,
But-
but if you want to start using those.
Well, it wasn't that people want to start using those, it's whether or not we should require those.
I think if you have 1 acre lots, you probably still don't need that.
Okay,
So
so,
you're trying to put 2 or 3 duplex on 1 acre.
okay, but right now, he's talking about a house.
And
So
that's 3 residents.
what's the underlying basis for why we still requiring 1 acre lots? I think I know, but I want to make sure.
It started off because that was the requirement for the water, our contractor for Water Conservancy District back in 1995, or 7, whatever it was back then. That limited us to 1 home per acre. The groundwater protection study, which is about to be done. We should be having the final report in the month of October. Is going to be more than likely staying at 1 acre. I thought it was gonna be slightly less, but they sent it out for comment from all the different agencies that were involved in this study. And they got comments back from the people that reviewed it, and it's more than likely gonna stay 1 home per acre.
And the contract in 97 did say that it was based on the wastewater study, which in the wastewater study, the recommendations were 1 acre, But we found later that they were the math,
Which wastewater study are you talking about?
the one that was back.
Back in the 90s?
Yeah,
They did the-
15, no, it was
5, they did the updated one in 2005.
2005 or 15.
I think it was 5.
But because we had, actually had a situation where the numbers said we could, but that's why is because the contract actually said, based on the wastewater study, and then the wastewater study verbiage actually said one
Something
acre,
else.
the recommendations said 1 acre.
So my thought process was we're no longer worried about the contract, but
Right, that contract is
Gone.
gone. However, we asked for the groundwater.
the groundwater protection act, and we don't know for sure what that's gonna be. We have a good idea.
We have a very good idea that it's gonna be.
And it's for protection of the groundwater. And so 1 house per acre if it's a septic system,
Yes, yes.
because if you
And
have
once
sewer,
we're on
you don't
sewer,
need-
then it's different, yes.
And would it-
Or you use a different
Commercial
type.
on sewer?
I'm sorry?
Would that change if we could get all of our commercial on sewer? We would.
Well, the
change
one home
or-
per, the one home per acre, well, we've been, you know, as you already know, in commercial, some of our projects that we've allowed in commercial, they're all putting in those large.
Right,
ground
but some of the
water
ones that
systems.
aren't, there's only a few that.
So even, even you put all of the commercial on a upgraded septic system.
Yeah.
Large underground waste disposal system. Is the density issue, so you
Right.
can't just have an area where you have,
So it
Several
wouldn't
homes.
change it.
no, it wouldn't.
So-
change.
so
It
we-
wouldn't make any difference.
Okay, if it did, if it would change it, I'm playing the devil's advocate that way.
Okay, I was gonna say, she'll have to answer that question.
Right, she was answering it, yeah, so you're good.
But if you if people would want to go to these other systems, and I don't know how good they are, I was talking to a couple engineers and they say, if they're maintained, they work really well. So you can get more density based on those, systems. And if you had maybe a subdivision where everybody wanted to go in, the developer wanted to put this different type of system in, like a large underground wastewater disposal system, then you could probably have more density, but I don't think anybody's ever come to us with that.
No.
Nobody's come to us with a residential subdivision for
Exactly.
8 years. or so.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I see we're struggling with is we've got this 1 house per acre, and unless we somehow upgrade the septic system, which is $30,000, which affects affordability, and one of the hindrance to affordability is we gotta find a way to make homes cheaper, not more expensive.
It's, I mean, for an average family, Virgin is unaffordable.
Yes.
To come and build and live here.
Almost anywhere in Utah.
It's almost.
Well,
anywhere
we
down
are
there,
worse,
yeah.
I feel like Virgin is worse, it's just because of this. It's a little more rural, so we have more we have to do, can't just look right into the septic system.
Right, we don't have a sewer
We have to
system,
put
right?
an
We have to-
upgraded
yeah.
septic system and things, so yeah, it's already unaffordable. For what I
So this septic system, is this $30,000 septic system, would this be for one house? or
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's sort of it's more automated, and so there's a lot of.
So even if you got to a point where you wanted to do 4 houses on an acre, they would have to have 4.
No, not necessarily. So, you know how commercial facilities have a different type of system? If there was a big enough project and you had a high density, the developer coming in with this project and wanted to have, I don't know, 4 homes per acre or less, or even more, then they could put in such a system. But nobody's really probably interested in that because those are expensive too.
So what I was asking, what I was thinking was if, number one, come to an agreement, the land gets rezoned back to rural residential, then you can have 4,800 square feet of home. And, if we said you gotta change and put in a bigger septic system, a better septic system, then, and add the 2.2 off the parcel to a boundary adjustment, would that work? Would that be agreeable?
But that
Would-
makes-
But, I don't know.
That makes the property a multi-family dwelling.
Yes, it does.
That's where the.
Well, the
That's why I'm
duplex itself is a multi-family dwelling.
Yeah, it would be a good compromise, but there's a couple of things hurdles.
Okay.
Well, I
So
think
this
it was
was
just
just
a
a discussion today.
That ordinance, because I don't think the ordinance really allows, it has to be a single family.
That's what I'm
Yes,
saying.
yes, that's what I was
Residential
saying.
says single family, that's why I was questioning
Yes,
how we would get around that.
that, because I did say that it's 4,800 square feet, but it's 4,800 square feet, assuming that's one home. Yes.
Can you connect it?
But we probably need.
But still, you'd only have one washer, one kitchen area. Okay.
So
There
anyway,
is the casita issue
Well,
too.
but that only has one kitchen area.
Yeah.
There, it's all set up.
okay, so I just wanted to throw out there those ideas for us to be thinking about.
So we have 3 duplexes in town, right?
1, 2, yes, 3, yes.
And,
Wait.
Where's
I can think of 2. I can think
well, I
of 2.
know there's one up in Pocketville.
Yes, there's
There's
one on
one.
Pocketville.
Yeah.
Right up
There's 2 right here.
Two?
Oh,
Two.
1, is that
That's
one?
eight
One.
duplex.
Okay,
And then
so-
there was the one at Pocketville, those are the 2 I know
That's
of.
right, that's just residential.
there's two.
That's not real residential.
So that's in
Residential.
so they're on 1 3/4 meters or 2?
We're talking that the duplex that's up across by the public works
Or
building.
we only got 2.
You go up Pocketville Road, there's a stop sign and you turn to go up toward Paul's house.
The
Are
guy
they
who lives
separate
below it in
meters?
the tent. He lives below it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are 2.
Separate meters.
Yeah, 2 meters, and then this one has 2 meters,
Okay,
and
Are they on separate septics?
I don't know about the one on Pocketville. This one has
one
one
septic.
septic,
I wouldn't think they'd be
By the
on.
size, I would guess that they would only have one,
One septic.
although the one in Pocketville's 3 acres, so.
Oh, is it really? I
Yeah,
didn't
they got
realize-
that whole back area.
Now, there's a house in a residential area that has, it's a house, and then it's got 4. Count the doors. RHS, 4 RHS rooms in it. Okay. Are those, and I can't remember the plans, are there kitchens in there?
No, RHS, as far as I know, RHS.
are you talking about the one that's sitting on the corner of Pocketville right there, are you talking?
No,
I put it
no,
up
it's
Stacy's?
not right up here, no. I'm talking about right up here by the park, with the turquoise doors. Those guys, everything that they did on that is up to what was up to our standards at the time.
Uh-huh.
So that's why I'm wondering what that looks like, because they have 4 RHFs. Not 4 RHFs, they have an RHF, but there's 4 different rooms with outer doors.
Oh, you're talking about Ethan and Diane.
Yes,
Yeah, let's look at the.
because they're the ones,
My understanding with an RHF is it was just supposed to be a bedroom.
I think they are just.
They're
That's what
not
I'm
supposed to
wondering,
be
it's been
there.
a long time since I've looked,
Yeah.
I'm curious, I'm just wondering. Cause
There's
they were right to our ordinances, and so that's why I was asking that question. At the
Oh,
time.
they have building one.
With the turquoise
Turquoise
doors.
doors. Now I know which
Off
one.
SR9.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they did a really good job, that's why I hadn't seen inside of it to know. I can't remember, I saw the plans back in the day, but I
I don't remember.
cannot remember.
So I don't want to belabor the point with the compromise because Crystal is sick and needs to go home. I just wondered if a compromise was possible.
Do you just want us to do our homework?
Yeah, we'll talk about it again. But then we have this ordinance that came from planning commission that was addressing, 2-family homes. And, then there's the one that was proposed by Cameron that has not yet been looked at or considered. So, Paul, you said that when you looked at this ordinance, you had some issues with it. So what were
Yeah,
your
when I
issues?
started looking at the ordinance, of course, obviously, they don't list what zones duplexes are gonna be in.
Well, no, it says you're gonna apply for an overlay.
So it's an overlay.
Yeah, I haven't really read it, so I.
So is this
But-
what this
but
one here is?
This is what came from planning
This is
commission.
Lee's, and then the one on here
Is
is.
Cameron's.
Cameron's,
Okay.
yeah, I just
wanna make
haven't
sure
had
I'm
a
looking at
chance
both.
to.
So when I was
look at
looking-
it Side by side.
So when I was looking at it, first of all, I always have trouble with the before and after, so.
Yeah.
Excuse me, it's hard to
Yeah,
get my head around.
Okay, you know, we can stop doing that way.
Well, but what the main thing I was concerned about was you got 8.33 land suitability. My question is, that in and of itself is very controversial. And it doesn't seem to have any bearing, but I guess if I now understand why they're doing it, because it's now an overlay. I missed that part of this being an overlay. I thought it was a separate zone.
I'm almost certain we find it. I know I read overlay.
I think it is supposed to be.
Overlay.
So it's kind of a duplex overlay or multifamily?
No, it's like the village overlay. It's here, right here.
So it's a village overlay, okay,
What page are you seeing that?
okay.
It's on the second page, at the bottom, after it says after adoption, limited two-family dwellings, a two-family dwelling in a village overlay is subject to the following procedures and standards.
So we still have our hands tied in a way, because in order to protect the aquifer or the river, we really only can have one unit per acre. So how do we get around that?
That's what I'm saying, is compromise possible, it may not be possible. So,
Well, the overlay limits it to 1 unit per acre.
But that one.
No,
unit
but then
can be
it's-
duplex?
but then it gives, unless it's on
Unless-
a.
Unless an independent septic and sewer system or connected public
Yes.
sewer system.
Yeah.
There's an exception in there.
Oh. It's on page 3. It would allow 3 per acre if it's, the septic system is approved for that, or it's on sewer.
One of the options, Tom, would be, because we're still working on an overlay for the neighborhood commercial, which is supposed to be a transition from residential, rural residential to more of the commercial. So, but not having commercial right next to residential. And hopefully that's gonna come back in the next couple of months. That does have duplexes allowed in that overlay too. So there's that option out there.
I don't like this height.
And like I said, I got it from Lee and I looked at that. So that gets you a clear option.
That is being discussed right here.
But you know, I'm not a fan of height. I don't think height should be.
And that will,
The,
Where,
and I was, why would we not want duplexes in commercial?
I don't care.
I'm sorry, what?
Why would we not allow duplexes in commercial?
When we had this conversation back when, a year or so ago, when
We first talked about it.
that was when we all were talking about it, it seemed like it was a general idea that this fixed a lot of our problems, like why not put them in commercial, because that's where we would rather have them. And it solves an affordable housing problem for us, right? So why the commercial zone would be better for it, because it's not going into somewhere residential where people want to keep everything uniquely virgin.
Well, if it's subdivision, it
it's
came
a
in and
location.
wanted to do a subdivision of duplexes.
Right, that would be different, but they could apply for, by then we would probably have,
An affordable housing zone.
yeah. Cause at the time, that's what we were discussing, and this just was a segue into that when we were discussing it at the time. Because
Darlene's
we wanted
online,
the zone for it.
if you wanna ask any questions, and she says Paul needs to know that the neighborhood commercial is the village overlay.
Oh, they
No.
would change the name.
That's what I'm looking at.
That's what she said the neighborhood commercial is the village overlay.
So we have to review this. Okay, but that just means we have to really look at this ordinance.
No, I don't think so. I think she's wrong.
She just passed it.
Or I messed up as to what was sent to me.
Did you get it on your email?
Yes. Yes. And look to see how close they are. But like I said, I haven't really looked at what was sent to me, I just glanced at it. And she could be, Darlene, you could be right, I didn't look at what Ray sent to me very closely. I just thought it looked different than this.
This is not the complete ordinance.
Okay,
Okay,
so this is part of the neighborhood overlay,
Correct.
commercial. So,
It's called village overlay. Mhm.
So this is a village overlay, not a commercial, neighborhood commercial overlay.
It's the same, it's different name, same intent,
Different names, same thing, is that what?
Well, wait a minute.
same intent.
My recollection of what was sent to me was not this, because it listed all the various uses.
Correct, but this is part of what the village overlay is. It is not the entire ordinance, but the standards are in chapter 8 because that's where the standards
So
are.
do we do two overlays or one overlay? So it's two
One.
overlays or one overlay?
No, one. So this in chapter, if you look at this, Paul, if you read the section 1 introduction on village overlay, it might enlighten
there
you.
is no introduction.
Oh, yeah, right there, after adoption. 8.07, is that what you're talking about?
It says application, it doesn't say introductions. There's no.
So
introduction.
you're looking at a clean on the draft. Let me get my other computer.
Well, I have a problem. If I'm gonna approve anything, I want the full ordinance. If it's gonna be an overlay, I want the full overlay. I don't want to be approving a part of an overlay and then come back with another part of an overlay.
This is more than that. It's not just about the overlay. That's why it's in chapter 8. It's about general standards. And hold on just a second. I'm going to look at exactly what I sent you. Because we sent you a clean copy.
I haven't read it, I can't discuss.
I haven't even read it, so I don't know.
Well, I provided hard copies for you.
No, I know, but it's hard to read it and study it.
We're just saying we're
Yes.
not prepared for a full
Well, that's
discussion.
what I think.
Correct. But on the
I don't-
section 1 in the draft, which I could send you, Paul, it clearly states that this, if the village overlay passed, this will go in here. So, but this just relates to this one part of the village overlay. Because this chapter 8 is general standards, correct?
Yes. But.
And so that's why this is also included here. But it's not the only thing included in there.
Okay, let me rephrase that. This is not the overlay. This is standards that would be part of an overlay.
Correct.
So,
We're discussing the two options. Well, Cameron's and the village overlay. Those are our two options at our work meeting next week. And then depending on which way it goes, we'll determine whether this is included or not. If we choose to send on the village overlay to you, this will be included. If we choose to send cameras on, then
yeah. I would
this
not
wouldn't
go
apply.
The table until we've got a whole overlay.
Okay, so I'm sorry, what was that at the end, Darlene? You want to know whether.
So
we want
if
to use-
Cameron's went through, then this section would not be part of this ordinance.
Okay. All right.
If,
So do we want them to, look at Cameron's ordinance?
Yes,
Okay, so we want you guys to,
Yes.
Give Cameron's ordinance, review and discussion.
And that is on our work agenda.
Okay,
Cameron's is on our.
Cameron's is on SharePoint. We
I
do
just-
not
But
have a printed copy. We do not have a printed
She's just
copy.
adding a small section, it looks like. I haven't read it. but that's
I
what-
believe, did Cameron send his ordinance to you? I thought he had sent it to everyone.
Yeah, we've got it on SharePoint.
I have printed copies.
Okay,
So,
okay, we've got it.
you know, the way I look at this is, I see these amendments, and these amendments are to the standards.
Mhm.
But there's no language in here that reflects that this is an overlay. I don't, it's setting up.
That this-
only standards.
Yeah, and I can send you, if you look, Paul,
But it's-
Paul, if you look at the copy
Where's that?
from the packet from last night's meeting, you will see the language I am talking about
Yeah, there is.
from the
one
public
that's-
hearing, from the
Right.
public meeting. Mhm.
The after adoption, it says a two-family dwelling in a village over.
Yes,
That's like
yeah.
the only reference
Yes.
that I can find.
But that doesn't create a
No,
overlay
it doesn't.
district.
That's why it's a little confusing. I haven't read the whole thing, but that confused me right off the bat. But it doesn't say.
There's nothing in here that tells how this overlay is gonna be applicable or the creation of an
And
overlay.
we don't have an overlay yet.
Right. So we're getting the
This is
standards
our-
before we have the
Yes.
overlay.
Exactly, this is premature.
This is way premature. Yeah,
And if you wanted to, you could pass the rest of it and just pull out that section until we
Darren, what we have-
well, we'll do probably the overlay next month. So if you wanted to, just,
what would we pass?
This is, she just said they're gonna do it next month, so we're not passing it this month.
No, she's showing us to pass functions.
of this.
Oh, is that what you're saying?
so there is more than two-family dwellings. There's more than one section in this ordinance, correct?
Yes, there's like 5 different things.
Correct. So another option would be, as part of the village overlay, we could add this section to it as well. And then you could, if you like the other things, then you could vote on that. Does
I
that make
find-
sense?
I find this so confusing.
So Darlene,
I do
wouldn't
as
it
well.
be, since you're doing the village overlay next month, wouldn't it be prudent just to wait and put this stuff with it? And then submit everything that, after you look at Cameron's as well? And then just submit everything next month? Cause to me, it looks like this maybe should.
Well, but the only, Misty, the only thing that deals with the overlay is section 1. Everything else deals with other things.
But,
So if you want, you could move to adopt
that's.
the other
Okay.
part when and if the village overlay goes through.
So none of us have read it, we can't discuss it anymore, because none of us
Okay.
have sat down and read it. If this, otherwise,
All right.
we're all just sitting here totally confused.
But
Okay.
Darren, I do stand corrected, thank you, because my neighborhood commercial overlay is the village overlay.
Correct.
I would like to be emailed, so I see what you're saying. So what I looked at was more comprehensive than this.
Okay,
Correct.
okay, all right.
We haven't seen that.
You have not seen.
We have not seen that. Okay, so, if I understand this correctly, what we have just discussed is that it appears that there's not gonna be a compromise possible, although we haven't ruled it out completely. But it's leaning, given what we were discussing, that it's leaning toward there not being a compromise possible, but it's not a done deal yet. And then also this ordinance that we got from last night, we're all confused and none of us have really read it and we need to take the time to read it. And we can discuss it again on Tuesday. Okay,
And I think their compromise may be possible.
well, that's what I said, it's not,
Not dead. We
it's
gotta
not dead,
explore.
it's not dead. We'll see if
If anything, I think there's like 4 more compromises we need to work with.
Yeah.
I think are different anyways.
Quite frankly, we need to figure a way to get duplexes in this town because that's affordable housing. And I'm not
I would
sure
just like,
we need to do.
if I may just point out this, what's in chapter 8 would allow for the compromise that you are talking about. So,
Yeah, but how do you get over the fact that we're doing 2 homes on an acre instead of,
Three, actually.
well, 3,
Duplex and one.
oh, well, you're right. A duplex is actually 2 homes. And that, so it's actually 3 homes on,
Maybe a development agreement on that.
well, that, exactly, that's
Well,
why. If we did,
Yeah.
if we do a compromise, it would be as a development. Okay.
But as far as he said, development agreement on laws.
Darlene, I see what you're saying, that we could approve these standards now but I think we just kind of want to wait to see what the whole thing looks.
I would.
That way we're
that's
not-
fine.
Standards with that.
Yeah.
If you drop a portion of it like that, it's a significant change. I'm afraid Heath would tell us we have to go back for a public hearing again. Because you're taking out a big chunk of this ordinance.
So,
Because it has one, it's not 3 different ordinances.
okay,
No problem.
okay, all right.
Thank you.
So, then this gives us number 8. I had proposed ordinances coming from planning commission, so 7 and 8 kind of blended together, because one was, this ordinance that just came from planning commission. The other is that, the other thing that they voted on last night was the zone change for, Palmer's that we sent back. And so what we have before us, when we have our meeting on Tuesday, is we have the vote from the planning commission last month, where they approved the zone change with the limit of 400 depth, of 400 feet depth of commercial from height. Last night, what they did is there was a denial of a zone change where the, commercial went all the way down as shown on that map. So we've got, it's odd what we have here with these 2 different votes, but it's certainly reconcilable because the denial was if the commercial went all the way down.
If it was based on the new ordinance.
On that map, well, if it was based on this map, and he is entitled to, if they are actually entitled to, the law, the way the law was as when they first started the process to, say, I want to do a zone change, I want to do a zone change, I want to do a zone change, this had started before they adopted this 400-foot limit. So the question was, what we sent back was for them to verify, did these guys understand that we did not want development after 400 feet? And,
It's this here that they're saying if this part's
Yes.
not included,
correct.
then it's, okay.
There, and yes, it's that little funky part going down.
Okay.
And I talked, so,
Thing is kind of funky.
well, it
because-
turns out what they wanted to do is that what they said apparently at planning commission, at some meeting back, is what they wanted to do in that section that goes down, is they wanted to put storage for their businesses in Springdale.
Which they're doing now.
They already do that,
And,
and that's not allowed.
and so I was like, that, what does that, what good does that do us to allow them to have storage for their business in Springdale? To me, that's an industrial use.
So. So is, what's 400 feet? Is
I don't know.
that
About
400
I don't
feet?
know.
About half of it.
Is that
Yes,
four
but
hundred?
what about right here?
Because on
I
this,
know it's a
So
zone
this
that,
goes back to about 800.
that,
this is 800, so this is even, that's
more.
1,000 feet.
That's gotta be 1,000 to 1,200 feet.
If I recall.
Because if you follow the road, if you follow the highway, you know, 400, 800 feet from the highway, so that,
And so I think that's a little bit longer, but yeah.
Oh, you're right. I see what you're saying.
So
Yeah.
I think when I measured it, just using the tool, it was like 800 and something was the furthest, so. But
In
so
that
400
corner,
is
not-
about half.
It's in that corner, not this one.
no.
This corner,
yeah.
not this.
Okay.
corner.
So we were looking
No,
at,
no, this
how
is about,
far is that?
actually, that's about 400 feet. I want to say
800. So really the 400 is about like right there.
He just said right across the.
It makes sense.
It would be like that way. Okay.
So when they did this boundary adjustment though, they didn't discuss it.
Partition.
They
No, they
didn't
did not.
discuss it with us.
No.
They just went to the county and said, this is what we want to do.
Correct.
So that was done incorrectly.
Well,
Well,
no, it wasn't done incorrectly. It was done without asking the town, what do you think about our potential partition?
Right. And I will tell you, when we subdivided the 3.3 acres that we purchased,
Uh-huh.
I had gone to the town and said, I want to subdivide this. And then I got busy with my business and couldn't do it, went back a year later, and I had to abide by the new ordinance right now.
Okay, well,
So,
well, they had started the process. The question is, when did they really start the process? That's the question. And, that he said we needed to get an answer to is when did they really start the process? But at the same time, it was, I asked Keith to give us a memo. To do a legal memo explaining to us why it mattered. Because if this is a legislative act and we can rezone property, who cares when they, apply? Because we can change zoning issues anytime, even after somebody's had a piece of property rezoned. We can make changes into that zone that they have to abide by. They don't get to say, because that's what they try to argue in Zion said. You can't change this because of, you can't change the zone after we apply for the subdivision. So we can change the zone anytime we want.
After they get building permits, that's when things.
That's when it is, it's when you apply.
that's when-
And so what I asked Heath, I said, give us a legal memo explaining why a zone change gets the same thing about what were the rules on the day they filled out the application for a zone change, as opposed to somebody who's come in and applied for a building permit. That's
Right.
administrative. This is legislative. I don't think they're entitled to anything. And he felt that they were, so we'll give us a legal memo.
Still up to you. Explain that.
He still said, and I said, give us a legal memo, I want an analysis. And so I suspect we will get it on either Monday or Tuesday, that we're gonna get this memo.
Well, we don't have to approve any zone.
No, and I told him that I was pretty sure that the way, the council was going to feel on this is that we would be denying the zone change if, they were going any further than 400 feet.
Right.
And so he was asking, well, so they can't do anything with the remaining property that's been partitioned off? I said, no, they can do residential there. We just don't want them to do commercial
Right.
past the 400.
Right.
We're not saying they can't develop property
And this is a very appropriate place for commercial,
on the highway.
That's
400 feet.
That's 400 feet, yes. And
And
so I already told Heath, I said, I think if they're gonna say, no, 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 we want, if you're gonna say
right,
they're entitled to the 800 depth at the time that they applied, that they started the process. I said, I guarantee you right now that the zone change is gonna get done. We're not gonna go there.
well, and then
And,
what's the
that's
definition of starting the process?
And well, there's that, but so then, I said, if we do a development agreement where they agree they're not gonna go past 400 feet and they can do all sorts of residential development in that part that's below the 400 feet, no problem.
Hopefully they'll be doing neighborhood, well, I keep calling it neighborhood commercial, but
They wanna do affordable housing.
village over something, you know.
And so, but that's what they wanted to do with that section that comes down, that
Right.
funky little piece is.
They don't want it to change.
And my thought, What?
840
40 feet, okay, so
Is
anyway.
that total, is that the biggest?
The big long.
Okay.
If, when we, if we're zoning something commercial, in my mind, if we're zoning something commercial, we would like to see some benefit to the town for this commercial use. But if this is just storage for, the businesses in Springdale, tell me how that benefits us. We get no benefit, no financial benefit from that at all. And it's like, you know what? I'm sorry, but we're not your,
That's really close to residential too.
very close to us.
One thing I was 684.
Commercial next to residential is not a very good fit because look at, Desert Gardens and the gas station. Now, when those people bought their homes in Desert Gardens, they knew that property was commercial and they went ahead and bought it. And so, you know, they realized that,
At that
the people that I've talked to, they realized that that was commercial and. that's-
But a gas station was not allowed in commercial back then, but, okay.
Yes, but then if you have your residential property that's next to rural residential, you kind of expect that you knew what you were buying and you looked into it and you saw that they were rural residential. And then you have this project and a zone change that comes down and puts a storage unit right next to your rural residential property. I just really think we need to take into consideration the residents of the town and not make them have to suffer. Because they live there 24/7, you know, like the gas.
So you're in favor of my transitional zone,
What's that?
my transitional zone from residential.
Yes, that's
something
your
more
village
intense
overlay.
Have
or
we
whatever.
spoken to the landowner to ask them if they are willing to compromise with that?
According from what I understand, from what Crystal said is last night at the meeting, the guy who was here on behalf of the landowner, Jared Bates,
Yes.
said they were willing to work with the town. We'll work with the town.
They're only losing about, the way that she just measured this, the corner, that's the shorter corner is only 684.
Okay.
So they're really only losing 280 feet.
So
Square.
that
in
point,
That was a weird
The
shape.
point on this side, and then the point that's hanging down is 800.
840, she said.
Yeah, so
you know
if
that.
they can compromise cutting that off, they're only
Which
losing.
one, you talking about this?
Well, we're not,
Yeah,
Yeah,
and what,
that's just a hair, that's 398.
okay.
So that's almost 400.
So it's this point right here, it's like the elbow.
what about it?
It's 390.
Right there, right there, that
398 here.
angle.
390, it's 2 feet shy of 400.
So that's roughly your.
So that's where our 400.
That's what my question is are they willing to compromise if we don't charge them to do all the partitioning and changing it or whatever, and just say cut that in half, cut that off there, and then only go back 400 feet,
Well,
we're
it
gonna
would
lose
be-
200 here.
So that would be with a development agreement or
Right,
something?
or they could even keep it this way, and in the development agreement, we say, we'll section off this piece,
You can't
partition that
develop
out,
beyond.
and you can't develop beyond the 400-foot corner
Right.
there.
And that's why Heath was asking me when I told him, I said, if they're gonna say, we want our 840 feet depth, I said, we're gonna deny the zone change. That's just all there is to it. And I said, if they're willing to compromise and go with the 400, that's when he asked, so you're saying they can't develop below that 400? I'm like, no,
No, they just
no,
can't
they
develop
can't
in
do
commercial.
commercial.
That's what the ordinance says.
So I listened to that meeting
Tonight is
last
based
night.
on ordinance. This is, there's
I
no
did too.
argument.
And he indicated that they'd be willing to work with the town, and he also intimated that there might be a loss.
Well,
I
I
thought
thought,
that last night.
I thought I did him say, you're not gonna make us redo this boundary again.
No, I had no intention of asking them to read it.
Okay,
That
okay.
was not in my.
Okay.
My mind is a development agreement.
Okay.
I think he's willing to do, that's kind of where he was going is, because he's been working on it so long with
So,
the
yeah,
town.
he's been working a long time on
This
this.
first time I've heard about it, I've been on council for 2 years.
No, when he's been coming to the town, he hasn't come to the council with anything. It's, he's been dropping by the town and saying, hey, here's my plans, what do you think?
Yeah,
And they're, I
they
want to
move slowly.
slowly. They move slowly, but with this whole time, there's been no
I'm
depth
listening to it.
limit. There's been no limit on depth to commercial until
Next
now.
week I have to go to it.
Are you talking to us, Darlene, or do you want to mute yourself? Because we're hearing your conversation, Darlene.
I'm sorry. I did want to point out that he did say, and Crystal, correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember Mr. Bates saying, if my client has to either redo the partition, or if this is denied, we might get legal representation. So I just wanted to pass that on to you.
We're not asking them to redo the
Yeah,
partition.
it's a zone change, it's a legislative act.
They can sue all they want, it's the legislative act. So,
So we can fall back.
Do you want us to look at this and then come up with?
But
I
you
want
also
to-
did
I
state
want
in
to
the
do it
same
all.
thing, you were on.
Yeah.
So should we?
That
do
was
our
one of the
homework
work
and
Yes, we
something
did.
line it?
Not just be completely shut down.
I think
I
it's,
think
I think
so.
it's kind of done.
Cause then we don't have to keep sitting and beating it. Let's just say you want to
Here's
do our homework, and what our homework is, we need to say what we ourselves want to see in the development agreement.
so,
If that's what you want to happen.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
good, okay,
Let her know.
because, no one has proposed a development agreement to them. That will come when we have our meeting on
So if
Tuesday.
we have our ducks in a row, then the development agreement can be written. Or standards at least.
He can start working with whoever with them to come up with the development agreement.
And he could say, this is what they're thinking, what are you thinking, if we give you our homework next week.
Yes, and so, as far as I'm concerned, anything past the 400, they could do residential. And they already are gonna do a big section of residential, the section below that partition. They've intended,
So now they could just branch into.
there was going to be a small subdivision with like, 5 homes or 7 homes or 10, no more than 10. That was going to be down in the corner close to where the Nature Conservancy thing is. And then the rest of it was going to be some affordable homes. And they're making arrangements with the sewer line is gonna go right across their property. So they will have access to the sewer so they can have increased density where they wanted to do the affordable housing. And so this other part that we would say you can't go below that, just
Right.
make it affordable housing.
Exactly.
So we would have to change our ordinances to allow for that increased density.
Yes, we would. We would
And
have
that
to
would be
say,
based on
because it's
sewer
gonna be,
system.
yes, it's dependent on that sewer system. And yes, we would have to change
So,
our.
yeah, it's not just so much coming in with the subdivision, they'll have to get a request of some change. To get
Yes.
that density they want.
Yeah, well, if we do like an affordable housing overlay or something like that, that's what you're talking about?
Yeah, either that or allow for higher density with sewer in the residential or rural residential areas. I mean, there's different ways you can get it.
Okay. So anyway, as Misty was saying, let's call it a day and say, we're all gonna go home and say what we would like, if we did a development agreement with them to say not below the 400 commercial, what would we like to see in this development?
Could I get a copy of, any correspondence that was submitted for this? I think there was one letter, Darlene said, that was submitted.
What are you talking about?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, the agenda.
That was submitted to the planning commission.
Yes,
I want to be able to,
the letter
Public
to owners,
hearing.
Bruce Dinsley's house. It says
Yeah.
one letter.
I'll put
yes.
it in the SharePoint.
Put it in
That'd
the
be great.
SharePoint.
Yeah, that'd be great.
yeah, because I'd like to look at things, since we don't have a public hearing here. I want to look at.
We need to see, and she says 2 residents spoke against in addition to the letter, so we need to see what they said. So we'll need to see the letter and then the minutes of what the 2
I'll
residents said.
scan in,
The minutes would be great. I was gonna go back and listen, but
I'll scan in Pat gave me
It was
his,
Pat,
Galvez,
yes,
gave me his, what he read, so I'll scan that in, and put it in SharePoint.
and then we know what his comment was, okay. Then we don't need to see.
What was the name
minutes,
of the,
but
the other gentleman that spoke?
What?
There was another person that spoke, and I don't know.
It said 2.
I can't think of it either.
It's on the tip of my tongue, hold on.
From Desert Gardens?
No,
From,
he lives across the street.
Oh, that was for the other zone change.
Oh, that was for the pancakes.
The other person was Gerhard Plannert.
oh, Gerhard Leonard, I saw he had signed.
He's the one,
Yeah, he's from the.
um,
Yeah.
he pretty much just copy what Pat Valdez said. I think he's the one that's, let me just go with that.
And you already told me what Pat said. Okay, so, and then I have my AI note taker was online and it's already sent me the summary of what was said, so I got that transcribed too. That's like, I got that in my, I can send it to you. Okay, so we have not.
I'll tell you real quick what he said, because it wasn't very long, he just. What Jared said was, he thinks.
Gerhard.
Thank you. He said was that when the elections are here, they all say that they're going to stop development. And that's. When elections are here, that people who run, they're gonna say that they're gonna stop development. And, then we vote them in, and then they're not stopping development, so are we voting in the wrong people?
Okay.
And he quote unquote agreed with what Pat said,
Yeah.
that was his comment, so there's his comment, and then I'll scan Pat's in.
You tell me, Colin.
And then Jared Bates did speak to you as well, he just said that he's here wanting to work with the town and put in a grocery store and such. On that.
And to make it a Trader Joe's, we got a deal.
Grocery store, period, to be nice.
Yeah, just a grocery store, period, I agree, but farms would be great. It's like looking at the people that live in Springdale, Rockville, Virgin. We want farmers.
Well, I think Tocqueville would come up, I think.
I think correct too.
Absolutely.
It's closer than the one in St. George. Okay, so, we did not put anything off except for the water conservation plan. Because we agreed that needs a public hearing, we're gonna do in October and vote, so that's the only thing that's being continued. Everything else is going on to the, agenda next week.
Right, yeah, that was.
Which one?
This ordinance.
Yes, this and that, yeah. Okay, meeting adjourned.
Yes.
Anybody want to make a motion? Who's gonna second? Second. All in favor? Yes. Okay, all right. You may now close it off.